Welcome, everyone. Our topic today is environmental groups urge Congress to ban data centers in the US. Here is the engineer, Steve Gottenham. This is the website of Steve, and this website is stevegottenhamaltogether.com. And this is the LinkedIn page of Steve. So you can access and see Steve details, professional career, and so on. And this is me. Okay, let's remove this card here and start. Sorry, 1 second. I need to remove. Yes. Steve, let me start with you. So the title is very attractive because United States, China, and other nations are building strong, big, huge artificial intelligence support infrastructure. How does it work? Because it's so big and so dense.
Yeah, very big. Happy New Year, Armando. Yeah, we're in the midst of an artificial intelligence revolution. And to run AI, they need these big data centers filled with servers that consume large amounts of electricity, in some cases consume large amounts of water. This has only happened since November of 2022 when ChatGPT released their conversational AI chatbot. And now we have Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Tesla building data centers around the world. Matter of fact, this is going on in Brazil, as I understand. The data I'm seeing says there are now 195 data centers in Brazil, with mostly centered in Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro, but around the country, using energy in Brazil and upping the computing power of all these companies. That image there you see is an image of the Stargate data center in Abilene, Texas. And these things are huge. They're very, very big. Many, many acres or hectares of land is required. And then they need a lot of electrical power. And companies are now building the power plants right next to the data center in the United States. I call that bring your own, BYOP, bring your own power. And we even have some networks requiring big companies. They say, if you're going to put up a data center, you got to put up your own power plant. So it's really an amazing thing. And this is occurring all over the world. I was just reading about Singapore. They have no room in Singapore. It's a city. They want to build these big data centers and they need to power them. And they get 94% of their power in Singapore from natural gas. So this is happening all over. And some nations with a little more room may have an easier job of this, but it really is becoming a worldwide revolution.
But Steve, as we do not have enough energy for everyone, let me put you in this chart here. 1 minute only.
Yeah.
We do not have enough energy for the common people and for the demands of the normal life, and we are adding demand, competition of this energy.
Yes. Well, that's going to make it difficult in some places. Yeah, you're right. We have about 700 million people don't have access to electricity around the world, and there's more than 2 billion additional that have blackouts and brownouts of electricity every day or every other day. I don't think that's happening too much in Brazil, although maybe in the far reaches of your nation. But places like India and in Africa and many other places, electrical power is in short supply. Yeah, we want these companies want to use all this electricity for data centers, so it is a big issue, and we're seeing it in the United States. Even in the United States, where we have a lot of power, things are shrinking. In Ireland, for example, it's something like 25% of their power is going to data centers because they build all these corporate locations in Ireland, and now they have banned construction of new data centers. Wow. So it is a big deal.
Yeah, it's a competition with normal life. It's incredible. Pennsylvania is building several large data centers, and electricity comes from which energy source? What's the source of this energy?
Well, the big thing they're building is natural gas right now in Pennsylvania. If you want to put up the next image there.
Sure. Maybe.
Next one.
Next one. Only a second. Yes. Where is the control? Yeah, it's here.
You got it? Okay, so this is a picture of the site at Homer City. This was formerly a coal burning power plant. They've closed that down, and you can see they're demolishing it. The chimney is coming down there, but they're about to build the biggest gas-fired power plant in the United States that will produce 4.4 gigawatts of electricity, very big. And I was just on a show with a woman from Iowa. This will be as big as all the wind turbines in Iowa, and they're very, very many wind turbines in Iowa as far as electrical power output.
Mhm.
But this is in West Pennsylvania near Pittsburgh, and they're building 2 or 3 other gas plants as well. And they're going to run these on natural gas that they've picked up from hydraulic fracturing, and it's all to power these big data centers. It's driving power in the United States right now, and soon to be in many other parts of the world, I believe.
Mhm. Yeah. Brazil, the same. And are there groups that are forcing Congress and leaders to stop these constructions?
Put up your next slide. So,
Oh, yeah.
just last month, a letter came out from. Next slide. There you go. This is the title of the letter. It was written to the Congress of the United States, and 230 environmental groups asked for a national data center moratorium. And they basically said, I'm going to quote from it here. They said, quote, "The rapid expansion of data centers across the United States, driven by the generative artificial intelligence and crypto boom, presents one of the biggest environmental and social threats of pollution, straining water resources, and rising electricity prices across the country." And so they have asked for a ban, and this is signed by, here's some of the signatories: Friends of the Earth US, Greenpeace USA, US Climate Action Network, and also some Democrat Party organizations, including the Progressive Democrats of America, New York Progressive Action Network, and the Seattle Democratic Socialists of America. And so they're asking for a ban, and they're right on a couple things. They're right on the amount of power that is being used, and they're also right on the water that is being used in many cases. It depends on how you design your data center, of course. But I think the pollution thing is misguided. They're concerned about carbon dioxide emissions, as we've talked about before. CO2 emissions really shouldn't even be called pollution, but most of these data centers are using gas, and some of them are using nuclear. We talked again about last time I was on about a nuclear resurgence.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is the letter that's gone to Congress, and I think this is going to be a tremendous battle in the new year in the United States. We may have the whole Democratic Party lining up against data centers, and so they'll be lining up against the big companies, Microsoft and Google and Facebook, Meta, Amazon, who are building these things, as well as a lot of other companies. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, 2 questions in this point, please.
Yeah.
230 environmental groups. It's a lot of groups. How many groups? 230?
230.
Wow.
Yeah, I can send you the email. If people look up 230 groups, sent a letter to Congress calling for a halt to data center construction, they can find that letter online and all the signature groups.
But
it's a big thing, and so we'll see what happens this next year. But I expect a big battle. And again, data centers, there are some things you can do. If you actually build a power plant to support it, then you strengthen the grid and you won't raise prices in your local area. If you try and put in a data center and just take power from the grid, then prices are going to go up. Water can also be an issue. But the data center builders are increasingly using systems that recirculate the water and reuse it. And we even had Microsoft build a water processing plant down near Atlanta, Georgia. Because they're building data centers, they build a plant to purify water so they would have enough water in the area. So this is what we see being done. And I think local communities, when they see somebody wants to build a data center, they got to say, okay, you got to build your own power plant. We have to have a way to get enough water for you, so we don't impact the local communities.
Yeah, but do they want to have these data centers outside the U.S., in China and India, instead of the United States?
Yeah, well, China is in a big battle too. They're building them like crazy. China wants to take over the AI leadership of the world. President Trump wants to keep it in the United States. And I mentioned Singapore, the Philippines. I'm speaking later this month to a group remotely in the Philippines. They're building data centers in the Philippines. They're doing it in Brazil. They're doing it in Europe. So this is happening to some extent in all the developed nations of the world. So they're all going to have to grapple with this problem. Yeah. And we don't know what AI is going to do. You know, there's a lot of things that people say are going to be good in terms of developing drugs and diagnosing disease and driving a robotic society. Tesla thinks we can run all kinds of robots on it and self-driving cars. But there's all kinds of other problems too. You know, people instead of doing their own homework, they're using ChatGPT and you know, we already have a problem with the internet with so many people viewing it. Now we think that we're going to be looking at all this AI stuff too. So there's good and bad about all of this, but it is something that is just like a huge tidal wave taking over the ocean.
Yeah, good and bad. But let me understand. So Democrats and these groups are aligned with the climate policies, and China is in the middle of this game.
Yeah. So yeah, another example is Bernie Sanders, who is an outspoken senator in the United States, a senator from Vermont, and he has also come out and urged a ban on data centers. And he's doing that because he says that only the billionaires are profiting from all these data centers and and not the regular people of the United States. So he wants that also to be halted. So it's going to be quite a battle here. And we'll see if other nations have this same issue.
Yeah, and China is influencing these climate policies and these decisions, or China is far from these decisions?
Well, China has been lauded by many people, praised by many people, because they're building a lot of wind and solar, and they're also, I think, 6 of the top 7 solar companies in the world are in China. They're shipping wind turbines to everybody. They're shipping batteries for electric vehicles. So they're playing a very big role in all of the technologies that are proposed to be adopted to get to net zero emissions by 2050.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the emissions, so I think you have to go down a couple slides here.
Yeah, sure.
Where are you now?
Yes.
If you're talking about China, so zoom down about 3 or 4 slides. Keep going. There's Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, you're talking about this.
You can come back and talk about Gavin Newsom in a minute, maybe. Keep going.
Keep going.
One more.
One more.
Oh, one more. So this is a graph of emissions globally. Let me see what the source is. This is Global Carbon Project. And that kind of brown line, that's number 2, that's rising very, very fast. That's China there. China's emissions are just climbing. They're building coal plants out there. The black line at the top is all the rest of the nations, and many of those are developing nations that want to use coal, oil, and natural gas to develop their societies, and are adding more vehicles and that sort of thing. So between China and the developing nations of the world, the top 2 curves, we have a big rise in emissions. Down near the bottom, you can see the USA in the green is falling. Europe is blue, is falling.
Blue.
We also have India rising down there, the purple line. But so while China is producing all these things, wind and solar and EV batteries for the world, they're growing their emissions very, very fast. And between what's going on in developing nations in China and India, the rest of the world is kind of small right now in terms of emissions. That's why I say the renewable energy breakdown is coming, and we're really not going to be able to stop the progress. By the way, another example, the International Energy Association was predicting that oil would peak in the last few years. Now they've stretched it out and say both consumption and production of oil and natural gas are going to continue to grow for probably a few decades.
Yeah. We have 100 million barrels a day, and probably reaching 110 or 160.
Yeah.
OPEC is saying this, and international agency is not reliable, so it's not good. But other reliable entities are saying that peak oil will be in the next 10 or 15 years. And electrical, you mentioned electrical vehicles, EVs,
Yeah.
and it's not selling very well in the United States, I suppose.
Yeah, well, let's go down one more slide here,
Sure.
and look at first the metals here. This is more about China, but China is the biggest producer of special metals in the world. And this slide shows the comparison of the metals for an electric car, the top bar, and then for a gasoline car. You need about 6 times the special metals in an EV versus an internal combustion engine car. And so that's why Mr. Trump is pushing to get hands on all of the special metals of the world. And he wants to go up and mine them in Greenland and in Canada and Alaska, because the world is dependent on special metals, especially for the batteries for electric vehicles. So this is a big concern. And then the Republicans are also saying, well, why should we go and do renewables? Then we'll be dependent on China. Mm-hmm. We should rely on coal, oil, and natural gas from the United States or from other nations. So this is...
For each car, 200 kilograms of metal is needed to construct a car. And
about 200 kilograms of special metals. Those are all in pounds there that you have. But lots of special metals. And these, of course, are mined all over the world, in South America and Africa. Mm-hmm. But then they go to China to be refined often. China refines many of the rare earth metals and a lot of other things that go in these vehicle batteries. So it's a big effort in the U.S. to try and reduce our dependence on China right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so you talked about electric vehicle sales. Let's go forward one slide.
Oh yeah, sure. 1 second.
You can go back to Gavin Newsom.
Gavin Newsom is not this one. It's back.
No. Well, we'll talk about electric vehicles since you raised that. Well, we can go back. Okay, let's go back to Gavin Newsom. There you go. That's right there. So Gavin Newsom, governor of California, came down to COP30. He's from a state government. The federal government of the United States didn't send any representatives officially. But Mr. Newsom got down there and he made all kinds of statements about how California was so renewable, and that his state gets 2/3 of its energy sourced from clean energy, which really wasn't correct. Mm-hmm. The state gets 2/3 of its electricity, but not its energy.
Yeah.
If you count the energy from industry and the energy from transportation, only about 15% of California's energy is consumed as electricity. Mm-hmm. So he's not quite correct, but he went down and talked about all this. But one of the problems with California is it's very, very expensive, the energy in California. You can go down one more slide, I think.
Sure.
Nope. Keep going down.
Down?
Keep going forward.
Oh, sorry. Forward.
Keep going forward. There we go. So these are the electricity prices by state in the United States. The average is 16.48 cents per kilowatt hour in the United States. But California is double that over on the West Coast, the red on the left, about almost 32 cents per kilowatt hour. So Mr. Newsom boasts about wind and solar, but he's got twice the electricity prices of almost all of the nations, except in the Northeast, that are also trying to be very green. California also has very high gasoline prices, and the refineries have been closing. They used to have about 40 refineries in California. Now they're down to 10, and 2 more have announced that they're going to close. So they have the highest gasoline prices in the United States for vehicles. So, he wants to go zero emissions, but they got all these problems. And then we also talked about the Ivanpah solar facility closing because it doesn't put up enough output. I think we talked about that last session maybe. So there's Mr. Newsom goes around the world talking about how renewables are so great, but it's costing California citizens. By the way, if you try and air condition your house in the summer in California, it can cost about $1,000 in a month.
Oh my God!
It's very, very high. So just not a good situation. And I think eventually the citizens are going to turn back to a sensible energy policy.
Yeah.
Oh, one more graph here. Go down one more.
And people are moving to other states like Texas and so, because prices is one of the reasons.
Some case, yeah. Go the other direction.
Oh,
Other direction.
forward.
Two slides.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, this is a look at the. Whoop, go back one. This is a
Design.
look at the rate of price increases by state over the last 5 years. And over on the left there, California is up almost 60%. And all these other states on the left, Maine, New York, Maryland, Massachusetts, Connecticut, are all states that have adopted green energy policies. That brown in the middle is the U.S. average.
Mhm.
Whereas other states on the east, like Georgia, Florida, Texas, and Missouri, still use a lot of coal or natural gas, and their prices are much lower. Just another indication that green policies are going to cost you a lot more.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. You see that the president of the United States is looking for new plans for because he closed some entities, some.
So go down a couple slides. Let's talk about electric vehicles first.
Yeah, forward. This
Yep,
one?
that's it.
This one?
Okay, one more. So
One more?
the United States, go back one. In the United States, we don't have a lot of electric vehicles. That graph on the bottom is for year-end 2024. The USA is the blue. We had about 8% of our new vehicles sold were pure electric vehicles. There are additional ones which are hybrids as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not as much of the world. We have the world is at about 18%. I know in Brazil, I'm not sure what your numbers
Less
are.
than that. Less. 3 or 4%.
I know you have a lot of biofuels, so you're running a lot of things in biofuels.
Exactly. Ethanol and biodiesel, yes.
But in the U.S., we've had kind of a real market slowdown also because Mr. Trump and our Congress have passed a one big beautiful bill which eliminates all the subsidies. There was a big tax credit for EVs, and that has now gone away end of September. And so EV sales have really slumped. They're down 37% this last quarter of the year, the last 3 months, compared to the fourth quarter of last year. Just a big change. Tesla, that used to be the biggest seller of EVs in the world, I think they're second now behind BYD of China.
BYD, yeah.
But their sales have now, their global sales have declined for the last 2 years. So things are kind of slowing down with EVs, and I think there's going to be a balance. We're going to have electric vehicles. We're going to have a traditional gas and diesel or biofuel vehicles, but EVs aren't going to take over the world as fast as many people were predicting.
Yeah, but Steve, light vehicles is only a part of the logistics process. You have trucks, heavy trucks. We have navies, military cars, and jets, flights.
Jets.
So this movement's not changing the world of energy.
No, trucks. The economics for trucks are much worse than cars. And for jets, you know, you have to go with different jet fuels, sustainable aviation fuel, or other sorts of things, and those are less than 1% of global jet fuel right now. So it's very, very small.
Yeah, very
We
good.
still get about, according to the what is it? Energy Institute. The world is still using 87% of its energy comes from coal, oil, and gas
Wow.
when you include transportation. So it's still very, very high, despite more than $10 billion being spent over the last 2 decades on renewables.
Mhm. What's happening with the entities, regulatory entities in the United States? Are they being closed? Why?
Well, some of the research centers, go down to the next slide. Yeah, Mr. Trump is announced, well, first he's cut funding for the climate models at NASA Goddard Center in New York, at the Department of Energy. And now he's talking about closing NCAR, the National Center for Atmospheric Research in Colorado. And Mr. Trump has basically said that these guys, or his people in his administration, have said that these folks are climate alarmists, and so he wants to shut this down, and so there's going to be another big battle about this. But in any case, he's going to cut budgets for NCAR. So we see that all over the United States now, wherever a organization of the government has been doing climate research, the funds are being cut back. Maybe it'll change in 2 years if we get another administration, but it really is a big blow to the climate change movement in the United States.
And who pays salaries and wages of these people that work for these entities? The
Well,
government?
I think it's mostly federal funding. This is a federal institution,
Uh,
so the U.S. taxpayers are paying for the funding for these.
yeah, that's a big problem. Yeah, yeah. And interesting. So, because some months ago, they closed another entities, NPA, and what's the name of the regulatory system that they closed?
Well, there have been a couple of them closed. They've closed things in the Department of Energy. The names don't come to mind right now.
Yeah,
But yeah, there's been a lot of funding cuts.
yeah, that's
Um,
right.
So it is a big change,
Yeah,
far beyond what I expected.
Yeah, and he has 3 years more to the end of his
Yes.
mandate. Yeah. Tell me, in your book, one of your books, and you can explain us which book is and what exactly is, you say that renewable is going to collapse. And
Yeah, collapse may not be the right word. It's a little sensational. Green breakdown. The concept of net zero is what is going to collapse. That's going to disappear. As we discussed last time when I was on, we now have 5 major political parties around the world that have stepped back from net zero. They voted against it in England, in Germany, in Australia, in the United States. And so this is going to stop. People are going to get back to sensible energy policy. They're going to use renewables where they make sense. They're going to use coal and gas and nuclear where it makes sense. And we're going to get back. The economics are just too big against the renewables. Anyway, people can go and get my book, Green Breakdown, The Coming Renewable Energy Failure, which is a complete discussion of power plants and home appliances, electric vehicles, heavy industry, heavy transportation, things that are going on around the world as well. And it's a color paperback. It's got about 150 color sidebars. And here's one of my favorites here. You can put up another slide here.
Yeah, sure. Is the only book you have, or you have more books?
No, I have also the Mad World of Climatism. I have Climatism, and I have Outside the Green Box. 4 books I've written. Anyway, that on the bottom right there, you can see one of the sidebars from Green Breakdown. And these sidebars are real newspaper headlines of things that are going on. These aren't made up. This was in The Guardian a couple of years ago. Quote, cows are being potty trained in experiment to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So they're actually trying to train their cattle to go use an outhouse, if you will. But so it's fun to read in that regard, but it'll give people a real story on what's going on with energy.
And these 4 books, where people can find them and buy it?
Well, if you're in the United States, you can go to my website, Steve Gorham, GOREHAM.com.
No, let me put, wait a second. Let me put
If
your website.
if you're in other countries, it might be best to get the ebooks. There are ebooks available, or there's soft copies on Amazon as well if you have a good local Amazon distributor. But
Second. It's here. I have your website here. Yeah, this one.
Yep, SteveGorham.com. And as I say, they're available from Amazon and from Apple in a lot of other cases, particularly ebooks. So I would encourage people to pick up a copy and learn the real story.
Very good. Very good. All 4 books are there, are in the Amazon Kindle.
Well, actually, my first one, Climatism, is now out of print on Kindle. They'd have to go to my website to get Climatism. I wrote that in 2010. But the other 3, The Mad World of Climatism, Green Breakdown, and Outside the Green Box are all on Amazon. Ebooks as well.
Perfect. Steve Gorham, have a great year. Expect new news from politics and things like that, like Mr. Maduro this weekend, and for energy, of course.
Thank you, Armando. Until I join you again.